6:05. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm just going to read the script for the open meeting. The open meeting of the Grafton Planning and Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted to the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and states your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourselves. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first read public comments, questions received in advance of the meeting, followed by real-time board and/or applicant responses. Public comments during the meeting will be conducted through the chat feature in Zoom. The chair will read real-time comment questions typed by computer participants in the chat. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So we can start with...
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry. Is there any way to not share the screen just so I can see who's making motions and seconding? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep,
yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so we have Beth here, Julie, Lisa, Doug, and John. And welcome, Christy. Hi, Mark and Andy. Is that everybody? Okay.
So we're missing Irene, Doreen, and Prebu contacted Andy already. So those are the three that I have out. And then I have our guests listed. So thank you.
Okay. All right. And is Doug not voting? Is he just quiet tonight, or is he going to chime in at all? There he is.
If I'm needed, I can vote, but I am on another call right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I needed? Am I needed for the quorum?
Yeah, I think you are. One, two,
okay.
Three.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So first we had the minutes that Lisa sent out after the meeting last time. Did everybody review those? Are we all set with that? Okay.
Move to accept.
Okay. Second.
Julie will second.
Okay. Vote by roll call. Beth?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mary? Aye. Okay, great. Now we're already on to bills. Andy?
All right, bills. We've just got a couple of invoices. Change order number 14 and CTA's requisition number 14 also. So DA Sullivan for December is in the amount of $5,778.
So I make a motion for DA Sullivan, $5,778 for the December invoice.
Julie seconds.
Okay, by roll call. Beth?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And Mary? Aye.
Right.
Okay, Andy?
Also up is DRA's, the design team's invoice for December in the amount of $19,654.04.
I make a motion that we pay DRA's December invoice $19,654.04.
Somebody second?
Oh, sorry. Julie seconds.
No problem. By roll call. Beth?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
John,
Aye. My internet must be really bad because I'm in and out and all around. So if I don't answer right away, it's just my internet's really acting weird.
okay, all righty, and Mary, I.
Great.
Okay,
We'll go to change order number 14 next, since it is included in the requisition as well. So if you go to the summary, I kind of gave a description of what some of these are. So PCO 50 is again sort of ongoing coordination with the existing building, you know, dealing with things as they are that were maybe not completely visible when the project was being designed. So just a few things there that we needed to take care of. So that's PCO 50 is again, it's like a little over $3,000. Design coordination. So PCOs 49 and 51 are both just sort of the usual back and forth between subcontractors asking questions, RFIs, and the design team making decisions. So 49 is a bunch of work from Colony. They're the drywall folks that are doing all the framing and drywalling. They've been really good to work with. They've been very, very fair. They've made a lot of, they've worked with us quite a bit to make this things go the right way. So a small change order here for $3,000 is well worth the price of admission, given how they've been helping us out. PCO 51, again, really small dollar, not even $500 for Teldata, the stainless steel faceplates. Just helps to identify those a little bit easier in the building. And then the other ones here, the Department of Transportation required two new drainage structures in Upton Street following their review of the project. So that's PCO 39R1, so $23,000. That's significantly lower than what the original PCO was. It was something like $85,000 or something crazy. PCO 40, let's see, 48 is from National Grid. Again, they provide a review of the transformer pad and location, and then they tell us what they need for bollards. So that's what this one is, just under $3,300.
And Andy,
Yes.
question to back up to the drainage. Is that not something, why is it that the highway department or the state doesn't realize what's needed when all this gets started? It's only when it's almost done.
This review actually should have been done much, much earlier during design. And for some reason it wasn't. So DOT does have jurisdiction of this part of Route 140 when it goes by us. So it's just the short answer, I guess the long answer is it was just a late review by the DOT. And that's why it's coming up now.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. We had Ngrid, bollards, and then the hydrant credit for almost $9,000. After a review of hydrants around the property, I asked the question of the water department and the fire department. You know, there's a hydrant right across the street at the corner of the Grafton Inn parking lot. Do we really need to have another hydrant? And the answer was no. So we got a credit for this one for work that did not have to be done. So that's PCOs. So that's,
And
yeah, go ahead.
another question. Sometimes you'll see buildings, and maybe it's because they're high rises, but you'll see standpipes or you'll see the water hydrants coming out of the building itself. Is that because it's a larger structure?
Yeah.
Is there? Okay.
Yep, that's it.
So I make a motion to pay change order number 14 in the amount of $23,941.57.
Julie seconds.
okay, vote by roll call. Beth,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and Mary, I. Any other questions on that?
I just want to thank Andy for asking the question about the hydrant. Thank you.
Yeah,
You did
that's a
job,
good
but thank
save.
you. It's
Very
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is
Dealing
when
with-
I can find something like that, it's a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy through this whole thing has been dealing with, all the fun people, Mass DOT, National Grid, all that sort of stuff. And he's just been kind of just a bulldog, just getting through everything till we get the answers. So it's
Yeah.
been great.
It's been good. Making all kinds of new friends.
Yeah.
And again, you'll notice this change order, while we have a change order this month, the numbers have been going in the right direction. So this was a relatively small one compared to some that we've had in the past. So
Right.
we are hoping to see that continue.
Good job.
And just to follow up on Andy, what he said about Colony, and really the bulk of the subcontractors, sometimes you can get, there's a contract set of documents and it's public work. So in theory, people can just put their head down and do what the drawings say to do, whether it makes sense to them or not, or whether they're even paying attention. And we've got a good group of subcontractors who are paying attention. And when they see something that's not quite right, instead of just going ahead and doing it, and then we have to pay them to undo it and do it the way it should have been, they just raise their hand. They question, is this what the intent really was? We have a conversation. A lot of the work has just been adjusted in the field at no cost. And some of it, like this minimal cost from Colony, as like Andy said, has been well worth it, just because it's been very proactive on their part, but very much back and forth conversation. So it's been good.
How do we share that information when other people go out to bid for them? Like, does other projects ever call us or Andy and say, hey, what did you think about, because I mean, that seems like something above and beyond that should be noted.
There's a certification process for public work. Private work, you might just get references. They may list, say, the Grafton Library as a reference and put Andy as a contact. In public work, there's a certification process that people have to go through to say get certified for painting. And there's basically a report card that the owner puts together at the end of the project and submits to the state. So it kind of goes on their record. So there's a way to keep track of things like that.
Okay.
Good. And the last one we have is CTA's December requisition number 14. So this includes the change order that we just approved. So again, this is for December. This has been reviewed by Mark and myself and the architects. Not a lot of changes this time. This is a pretty straightforward month in terms of work completed and what's going on. So the amount of this requisition is $772,587.71.
So I'm going to make a motion to pay the December 2020 rec $772,587.71. And then I have a question after we do all the stuff we're supposed to do.
Julie second.
Okay, vote by roll call. Beth,
Did you want to ask your question?
first ask the question.
I think
Okay.
Okay. Are we on track budget? Like, we're going to go what, until June? And if we keep getting these, if my math serves me right, like if we keep getting $700,000 CTA recs, then we're going to be over budget.
No, so I'm going to do the financial report next, so you can see
Okay.
where that is. But yeah, every month is not the same. There's a bell curve.
Right.
Okay.
There comes a point where, as Andy said, it starts off slow, and then as you get more and more trades working at the site, it'll peak up and then it'll go back down as trades finish. Like say right now, the windows are going in. After the windows are in, we're not going to see that contractor again, or we won't see the roofer again, or the structural steel people again. So their contribution to the daily or the monthly requisition will be gone, and so it goes up and then it comes back down.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to be clear, we're just drawing against that final number anyway, so the rec is just being,
Sorry, I just wanted
Drawn
to
against.
reiterate that, we're only analyzing the tumor compartment. So when he says total cells, that's the total number of cells in the tumor, right? Not in.
That's
the
not part of this. Doug's isn't part of this. Let's do our roll call.
Right.
Oh.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, then we're gonna do a vote by roll call. Beth,
Aye.
Lisa,
Hi.
Julie,
Aye.
Doug,
Sorry about that.
No
Here,
worries.
aye.
John,
Aye.
Mary, aye.
All right. So just so that's it for bills. But if you want to talk about money for a second, if you looked at the cost report that I sent out, if you go to the last page, which is just the summary, it gives you a good snapshot of where we are. So just in terms of projected costs versus budgeted. So no changes in engineering or soft costs from last month. The only difference in construction costs is change order 14. So just a little bit of an increase there. No changes in owner costs projected. And so, again, our projected costs is a little bit higher than it was last month. Total borrowing approved is the same. So the current difference is still, we're still well over $400,000. So we're still in really good shape in terms of where we need to be on this project and with cost. So yeah, as the requisitions go forward, you'll see them continue to sort of arc down. And we're going to continue to see change orders here and there, but they should all be in the same sort of range that we're seeing right now. We've got some electrical stuff coming up that we know about, and so there's going to be some just all other small things that will come up as well. I think we've got some increased costs in terms of finishes when the subcommittee made some decisions about flooring. There's an overall net add to cost there, so that's still being quantified. But so there's a few things like that that are still out there, but we're in good shape, I think, just in general financially. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that cost thing, but the summary is the best place to go. Hearing none. I can go to my regular report. So if everybody read it, I'm not going to read everything again. Kind of big stuff. So the concrete for the main stairs was poured. So we have real stairs, which is super convenient as it turns out. So that's really good. The masonry, again, like I said in my note, worth mentioning, those door openings for the lift that were on the exterior of the building are incredibly, they've disappeared. It's unbelievable how good a job Marmello Masonry did with infilling those openings. I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect it to be perfect, and it pretty much is. So it's really, really good. Drywall. So the big push right now is on the first floor to get drywall up on the walls. Second floor is really almost ready. A lot of it's ready for paint right now. And we're going to see painters coming into the building, if not this week, then more than likely next week. So that's pretty exciting that we're turning the corner into finishing. Waterproofing, again, the asphalt shingles are going to get started once the limestone caps get installed. So we're still, the masons weren't here today, but we're hoping we're going to see them for the rest of the week and we'll get that done. I know the roofer is planning on coming in the next few days to take a look at everything. So that'll take care of the low roof as well. And it'll be good to get that on there and get the building finally completely weather tight. The other exciting thing is the siding company was here today. They're starting on some more exterior insulation. So they're getting ready to start doing siding. They've got some trim work to do at the dormers first here on the north side of the building. So once that trim is on, then the roofing can go, and then the siding is going to follow after that. I'll just tell everybody the siding that's going up is primed gray, but it's not the final gray color. So if somebody says, is that really the gray? It's not. It's just the primer. Otherwise, MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing is all just sort of very nicely, quietly going along. There's a lot of good work being done out there. Coordination happening. There's a few, the usual sort of something in the way of somebody else, and we have to work it out, but that's all being worked out. So that is all going along reasonably well. Mark or Ron, what am I missing in terms of construction good news?
I mean, the statement that you just had for this group that we're even talking about the painter coming on site.
Yeah.
We're in the first week of January and we're talking about completion in June. So that bell curve that we're talking about, where we transition from the rough phase to finished phase, we're on the second floor. We're making that turn, and really that expression, it's all downhill from here. That's kind of what happens once the painter's on site. Everything's locked in, everything's done. No more physical changes are happening. It's only finish work after that. Painting, ceiling, flooring, finished millwork, all the good stuff. So it's exciting to make that transition.
Good. Schedule wise, again, the siding and the roofing are both a little behind schedule, but neither are going to slow anything else down. So the substantial completion date is still the beginning of June of next year. This building will actually should be completed well ahead of that, because it's a lead project. There's indoor air quality flush out and things like that have to happen well ahead of substantial completion. So this is it's gonna wrap up ahead of time. Safety's been good. COVID-19 protocols have been good. We haven't had any issues here at all as far as that goes. Again, quality's been good. Everybody's been working together to get things done. I think we've got the flooring released now. So that's the big thing, that from the general contractor side of things, they're just looking to make sure that we're looking out at lead times for ordering things and how long it's going to take. And, a lot of the stuff is coming up quickly. So we got to make sure that we're good to go. So, but we're in good shape with a lot of that. Fixtures and equipment. Again, I got to start talking to accounting a little bit and get a whole purchasing strategy put together with them and with Beth to make sure that we're buying stuff when we need it. But again, that's coming up pretty quickly. If something has a 8-week lead time, 8 weeks from now is,
Right.
It's further along of a date than you'd think it is. So it's some of the stuff is coming up pretty quickly. I'm feeling the end of the project already. It's good. Good.
How was a building built before someone like you managed it? You just completely trusted the contractor?
I would say maybe the architects probably spent a lot more time out on the job site than maybe they do now, right? Maybe. But yeah, it was a little different, John, because you didn't have somebody there necessarily every single day to watch what's going on.
But all the stuff that you do is critical. It's amazing how stuff happened. I know things are more complicated and there's so much more, but we're so lucky. I really appreciate all you do. And I think we all know you do a lot that's going to make this a very, a good project even better, because you're catching these things. And so it's just amazing how things even got built beforehand.
Yeah, no, this is definitely better. Especially, when you're talking about town funds, you want to have somebody that's watching to make sure everything's going the right way. So yeah, no, I mean, thank you. I feel very good about the way this has been going, and I'm glad that I feel like I'm making a difference. So it's gonna be good. At the end of this job, this is gonna be a very good job for everybody, I think.
You should all know that Andy, that you're in good hands with Andy. He's on top of everything. And in the past, John, if if the architect, say you had a Tuesday morning job meeting, and then maybe the architect would come out again on Thursdays, well, that left 3 days when there was no oversight. And not that people would intentionally hide things, but certain work would be done on one days and certain work on the others. You can't do that now with the daily presence of Andy in this case. And so, but CTA has been good, and Andy has a good rapport with the subcontractors, and if they have a question, they'll go right to him. And so it's worked out really well.
No, it's good. It's good. Good team all the way around. I guess the last thing is we did it. So we had another, so the landscape architects, we've been talking with them a little bit about, additional work and donor funds and things like that. So they're working on sort of honing down what that list looks like. And then we're going to sort of get some conceptual estimates around that and try and lock in costs. And then we have to figure out how we're going to make all that work happen and what the time frame looks like. So the next few weeks, I think, are going to be interesting to see how that gets defined and how we fold that into the rest of the project. But that's pretty exciting as well. We've got some really, I said it before, we've got some really great interest from and commitment from donors who want to increase the quality of this project, and it's going to be in some really significant, visible ways. The landscape, the exterior of this project is going to be, it's going to end up being. It was going to be nice before, but it's going to be even better now. So that's pretty exciting to see. So I think that's it. I would again tell anybody that hasn't been out here yet to let me know. I'm always happy to do tours for anybody that's interested. Again, after 2:30 in the afternoon. Usually it's a good time to come out. The job site slows down a bit and it's quieter, and so it's a good time to come out and take a look. That's it.
Thanks, Andy. Mark, do you have anything to add?
Just a general statement. Andy went over what's physically happening at the site, and he mentioned, earlier today, Andy, Ron, and myself had a Zoom call with the civil engineering group, and just to give this group of people kind of like a heads up that it's going to be your turn shortly to make some decisions on this, like the site related work that we discussed this afternoon. From that, we're going to get some design suggestions. From that, we're going to get some proposals, and then those are going to come to this committee to act upon. There's the FF&E, which we have a subcommittee that we're going to need some action on, and we've got the owner's supplied equipment that Andy's working through. And so up until now, we've been reviewing as a group kind of construction generated issues that have to be addressed. Well, now we've got owner initiated things that we need to address, and we don't want to get to the point where this group is holding up the work in the field because we don't have a quorum, or we should have got this information earlier, can't make a decision tonight, let's bump it another month, because we're getting to the point where there's a lot of momentum at the site. And so we may, like this site committee meeting that we had, or this the landscape donor opportunity meeting that we had, hopefully by the end of this month, we can get information to this group so that the first meeting in February, we can act on those things versus seeing it for the first time. And we may end up having to have an interim meeting for some of these things, whether it's FF&E or landscape or so forth. So just kind of a heads up to everybody to be prepared to, you're going to have some homework assignments coming up that you need to review and act on.
Okay. Hi, Ron.
Good evening.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good.
That's good.
Do you have any updates for us?
Sure. I'm going to jump over to FF&E since Andy and Mark covered the construction piece of it. We had a meeting last week with this design subcommittee and went over some of the additional items, such as colors for lockers, some of the other miscellaneous items. I'm working with the furniture vendor to get budget pricing in. It's going to be a very busy month for furniture. We're going to be working quite a bit this month to get that wrapped up and ready to order, and get that set for a beginning of June completion date. So I had a chance to talk with her this afternoon. I'm getting her some additional information. She's going to get us a budget by Thursday in time for Thursday's meeting. Once we have that and see where we stand, we basically have to wrap up the furniture by the end of this month. Sooner the better. I had a chance to talk to her with lead times. So far, lead times are still holding. They haven't seen any repercussions from COVID at this time, but you never know. So we're moving along. It's going to be picking up a bit this month, especially with furniture. We're also working with signage for the interior of the building, as well as there's some exterior signage, but that's falling into some of the category of the additional landscape work that was just discussed. There's a possibility for using some existing stone for the exterior sign. But that again is something that will be discussed, and we'll be coming back with costs and ideas for that. I just realized I owe Christy some information for the carpeting and the adhesives. I just have to get that out of the submittals and get that over to you. But that's about it. It's going to be a busy month for the interior subcommittee, but we're moving along.
Okay, it's great. Does anybody have any questions for Ron?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I have just a procedural question. So when that budget comes to you on Thursday and then you meet as a subcommittee, do they vote as a subcommittee or do we vote and hear about, and how does that work?
They'd vote and make recommendation to the bigger committee.
Okay.
And usually if you've given them the authority to make those downstream decisions, usually you defer to their recommendations. But if they come back and say, you know what, we're gonna paint the inside, all the walls purple, and that really rubs you the wrong way, that would be your opportunity to object.
Okay, thank you.
I just had one related item. I had sent out that commemorative plaque. We put together a draft of that, and I just wanted to bring that to this group because, I mean, we can thank everybody in town on this if we want to make the text small enough, but I just wasn't sure what people thought about sort of the open items. You know, what's on here right now is sort of your typical acknowledgements on a plaque, but libraries are different. They have different groups that are associated with them. So, you know, this is where we start. And if people have opinions or thoughts about this, it'd be good to hear them.
I have some questions or clarifying questions. Yeah. When you say this is typical, like if I go to Shrewsbury's library, is this what I'm going to see, or did they think all their, okay.
Well, so this was actually based on Hopkinton's, which was also a CTA project and was completed recently. I haven't gone to Shrewsbury to see what they did, but I'm sure it's probably similar.
I'm okay with going with what is typical. I think, like you said, we can thank everybody in Grafton, you know, for it on the plaque. But if this is what's a typical plaque, then I'm good with it. I also have some mixed thoughts regarding what we're going to do for the town administrator. Like, for example, I feel like, you know, there were some really good decisions made under Tim's purview, like Andy being in charge, Andy being our OPM was an excellent decision. I'm sure the two of you worked on that, right? So
this project ahead of getting MBLC funding, that was a really big, you know, good decision.
Yeah, and I also feel like, the select board, there were some select board members who, past select board members who had a big piece of this.
Yep.
So I'd rather see that type of things on the plaque versus all these other people. But if this is what they typically do, then this is what they typically do.
Yeah, it's always hard because things change over time, right? So, it happened with the DPW for the select board there. There were some people that had been, on it for a while that were very supportive, and then they were gone and they didn't get their name on the plaque. So it's hard. It's hard because I agree. Tim was, pretty instrumental in this, and, somebody like Brooke was involved in this and was a big contributor, and they end up not getting on here because of that.
This is one of those things though, Lisa, like I was saying about this group making decisions. You'd say a plaque, okay, it's not a big deal, a plaque, but it's nothing that Ron can approve. It needs the owner group to sign off on. And then once you get into it, as far as who to include, who not to include, all of a sudden you realize, oh, this could be more of an issue than I thought. You're not just checking how do they spell Lisa right? And you have to have this broader discussion. And so it's that kind of thing. It's easy for something like this just to hang there, but it's not going to be fabricated. It's not going to be installed, and we're going to get hate mail from the GC unless we get back to them in a reasonable manner and just say, we discussed it. Here are the names. We're good to go.
And this one is harder because I don't want to diminish the work that the trustees have done and the friends.
Yeah, that's
really
that's what I have a question with that.
And that is what's different than maybe, the DPW or a school or whatever. There's some people that are really, part of this project. So that's the part for me. Like, I'm not going to make that decision. Somebody to do that as a group.
Doug,
Yeah, I
how
mean,
many names are on there? How many names would there be on that for the trustees? Would you add on there?
I don't even know.
6, I think.
Mhm.
I have to think, but I mean, not
Ava?
just because I am a trustee, but I would certainly be in favor of putting the trustees. I
Mhm.
mean, there's always that question of the current trustees might not be as important of some of the past trustees, but that's the challenge, I think. But I definitely think the trustees should be on here in some form.
Sometimes I've seen it's almost like an electrical sub panel. You have a sub plaque where you have the dedication plaque, which follows a standard format. And then you have a secondary plaque, which says, this library could not have been done without the generosity of, and you list people from different groups, from different boards, different committees, past and present. And it captures everybody, but it's a looser format versus the kind of structured typical format that the dedication plaque follows.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
raising
go
my
ahead.
hand
Go ahead,
properly,
Doug.
sorry. I think the only exception with the trustees is they were such a large part of the grant itself, right, which is part of the construction program. Whereas I think the Friends, although they were very important for the building, that might be a group that you would put on that supplemental plaque, because they're certainly appropriate for thanking, but didn't have a direct impact on the building program per se.
Right.
And could they just be someone we just say the Friends and not list all their names? Because I
Definitely.
also feel like we run into the same, with Mark's suggestion, I originally thought, oh, that's a great idea, but then quickly realized we're going to run into the same issue there, right? Like, who do
Draw a
you
line
put
somewhere.
supplemental pack? Like, you do have to draw the line somewhere. Do we have to do the town seal? I know that's a silly question, but
You don't have to do anything. I mean, I don't, it's common, but do you have to? No, it's our plaque. We can do whatever we want. It could be in a corner and much smaller. I mean, I'm happy to do another draft of this and come up with something that looks a little bit different, so that we get, so that we can put the trustees on here. Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I'd like to see the trustees. If you could send over the names, Doug, to Andy, and
Yeah.
then see if you could fit those in somehow. I think it's good to have the town seal, just, it kind of shows that we are community.
Right.
But then put in the trustee names and see if we can fit it all in.
And what do you guys think? No TA?
I personally would like to see it in there. I think that it's important to.
So, but it's going to be it's gonna be whoever we hire.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
guess it
that's
would
a
have
tough
to
one.
be. I guess, yeah, if no, then I guess then we could take it out and have just the select board in there.
I mean, it's just kind of weird to put somebody on there that had nothing to do with it.
Zero to do with it, yeah.
I don't know.
Let's do, I guess I would say to take it out.
On the question of the seal, typically because this is a municipal building, typically you'd have the seal.
Mhm.
So if this was a private library or something like that, it might be different, but because it's a town building.
Beth,
Yeah, Beth?
you're on mute.
We do already have the seal on the exterior of the building.
No, that's
I
true.
guess I'm personally hopeful that it will change because it depicts a Native American and then we would have to go in and fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, it's twofold. I think Beth said it perfectly. I know the school committee just voted to change their mascot and all their letterhead. So if that's the turn the town takes, then might have to update this. And I was just looking for room to add the other people.
Right.
Also, is it the select board member at the time of the dedication in June? Because we have an election in May.
Right, we do have an election in May, but we have to get this out and get it produced.
Yeah, if it takes 8 weeks to fabricate, then we need to make a decision, you know.
I mean,
Could you do the select board at the time of the groundbreaking? I mean, they were the ones that kind of
yeah, we
put
can-
together the bond. I don't know. I guess, like you said, you could do anything,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and someone's
Also,
going to
the
complain
plaque-
about whatever.
You wouldn't need the plaque until the official grand reopening, which we may have a June 8th completion date. But
Right.
I wouldn't try to plan something for the summer. I would actually recommend like after Labor Day in September. You have a soft opening and give people time to come in and have tours, and then do a ceremony. And that's what Shrewsbury did.
Yeah.
I wanted to suggest if you want something to represent the community, you could just do an outline of the shape of what Grafton looks like on a map. And then you could even have names inside of it if you wanted to have additional space.
all right.
Kind of get around the idea of a seal.
I'll play around. I'll play around with something, including like a secondary thing that thanks some people. I'll take a crack at it and see what we can come up with.
Okay, great.
And-
Thanks, Sandy.
I just have 2 comments. Andy, I'd like to see it in the Optima font instead of the font that you have, just because you know that I like that very much.
I do know that. Yes.
And I was just wondering about the order also of the names. Like right now, I know it has Mary and then myself, but if we could get things alphabetical. I don't know what you guys think. If it matters, I know Mary's first because she's chair, but
Yeah,
like for our group, but I'd prefer to see things alphabetical, the names.
yeah. Usually they're in order of they're in order of position. I think first. and
Okay, yeah.
But after that, but it doesn't matter. If we'd like to do alphabetical, we could do that.
I'll leave that up for everyone else. That was just my 2 cents.
Okay.
But you can see we've spent more time as a group talking about this item than anything else. If you think a plaque, just check the spelling, you're good, but it's not that easy.
Nope. I know it. It's crazy. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll take another crack at this and we'll see where we go. And you're right. I mean, ultimately, Beth, we could wait and keep on sort of figuring this thing out and make a decision in the beginning of June for September. It's not going to stop us from opening the building.
Right.
Okay. Thank
When
you.
is the planned opening for the building?
TBD.
Yeah.
We don't know.
So when we say June 8th, we're talking substantial completion.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming June 8th is a date where we can think about moving back, which is going to take 3 to 4 weeks,
Yeah.
if not
Right.
longer.
Right. Substantial completion. Right. That means we can start moving things back and.
So just one last comment, the supplemental plaque you're talking about, could that be combined with the donor plaque? Like have the beginning section of the donor plaque be thanks to these people, and then the rest of them are thanks for the people who gave money?
Yeah, it certainly could
Yeah.
be. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right, John, do we have anything on historic?
I don't think there's anything definitive. Andy might be able to answer. It seems like at one of the meetings, there was a question or concern about the exterior, the light poles in the back. I don't have as big a concern as some of the members of the district, but it seems like Andy, if you could clarify, it seems like they'd already been ordered. So it's almost like too bad we can't change it at this point.
Yeah, and so for the parking lot lights specifically, they have a real, they have a very specific performance criteria that they have to hit in terms of light levels and safety and all that stuff. So parking lot lights are pretty tough to mess around with. They're oddly very specific light type. People do lighting studies that show that there's cutoffs so that the light doesn't shine on the adjacent property. You have to achieve a certain level of lumens so that there's a certain level of safety when people go out to their cars, all that kind of stuff. So it's a little, those are pretty tough to kind of mess around with.
Did you feel like the district accepted that? I can't remember specifically, but I just know that
I don't feel
a
that
couple of people really.
Yeah, I don't think they were happy about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to come back one more time. I'd actually love to have you guys come out and take a look at this again at the masonry that just got finished.
Mhm.
You know, that the match, unlike the Lula project, the match here for the limestone is right on. So it's
Good.
it's worth coming by.
Okay. Other than that, I think, and then the raised beds, I think that's another. The landscaping is a concern, but I think Andy had met or was going to meet with the fundraising group for landscaping, so that I think that helped. I think maybe even Bill or somebody attended that, so
So we
to allay any concern they might have.
Right. So we had Bill Nicholson at the kickoff meeting, and as soon as we have any other sort of product, whether it's a description or anything, I want to make sure that we keep you guys informed and in the know, so that we we just maneuver the right way. Everybody's very aware that the Historic District Commission is keenly interested in what happens out there and what the face of this looks like in terms of the landscaping. So yeah, we're taking it seriously and remembering that there's a key component there that needs to be addressed.
I think those are the only two major things I can remember that we had to address.
Okay, great. Interior Design Subcommittee, does anybody have anything that they wanted to add to Ron's? Beth, did you have anything more?
I'll just say, we have nobody officially taking minutes, but I'm gonna go through and try and get them complete for Thursday so that I can share them, because we have made some decisions and I wanna make sure that you all are aware of the exact color blue that we picked for the staff from
Okay.
Walker. So I'm working on that, and I'm sorry, I've been remiss and I'm very sorry for not keeping up with it.
Okay, great.
Christy asked a couple questions in chat related to design. So you can either ask it or I can read them from the chat.
No, I'll go ahead and ask. Are you sure it's okay? I probably have about 10 questions, and I'm sure, I apologize again, I'm catching up. I just want to let everyone know that I'm here from the Disability Commission, and I do have a background in architecture, which scares some people, but it actually helps the folks that I work with at QCC when we're planning, and I'm on their committees. So I just want to ask a few things. One is that I'm going to assume, just because it's part of the approval process, that everything's been set for the alarms, including visual alarms for the fire, to meet fire code. I just always ask that because you'd be surprised. Okay, so thanks, Andy.
No, it's good. Ask away.
The other thing is that I just brought up to Beth, you know, what were the plans for having gallery space for either displaying local art, kids art, whatever. And are we planning, Julie, on purchasing? Do we have a budget for purchasing artwork, or are we going to gain that through local means?
We do have a budget for artwork. I don't have it right in front of me, but we do have a budget for artwork. There is definitely some space. I mean, there's some stuff that's been sort of semi-designated for things on the walls, but could certainly have more conversations about that. You know, we didn't designate every piece of wall space for everything at this point. So there's a lot of flexibility there, but I can get you the number we had in the budget for artwork for sure.
And just the one concern I have about that, if there were to be something placed on the floor, such as a sculpture without a pedestal, something like that could be construed as an egress issue for someone who's obviously using a white cane to traverse. The other question I had as you were talking along, John, is the plantings that are going to be alongside closest to the entryways. One thing that's really neat is to have plants that have non-invasive plants, obviously, but that have scent, so that for people who are not visual, they can be used as markers, that either as a scent or in terms of what they hear as they tap their cane. Audible signals are really important. And I know we're not planning to have any waterfalls or ponds by our entryway, but I would like to think of some of the scented flowers and species that could really contribute to that area. And it's also a really nice greeting for anybody to smell something that's just so fragrant as you walk through a door. So those were the three things that just came off the top of my mind as I came through. And Andy, I will take you up if I can come this week or next week in the afternoon. I would definitely love to have a walkthrough.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and great point about the fragrant flowers. That I will definitely pass that along to the landscape architects. I think that's a really good one. And yeah, just let me know, shoot me an email or whatever, and we can have you out.
Do I bring my own hard hat?
No, we've got one for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I have one, so.
If you'd like to bring your own, that's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Beth.
Sure. We did have a sensory garden before in one of those raised beds, and that I think we designated that as something that we'd like to consider for the path coming out of the children's room toward their outdoor patio space. And it was a garden that had both brightly colored things that were interesting to touch, like lamb's ear sage, things that were scented, like mint, things that rattled and made a noise. Yeah. It's great to have it on other radar too. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Christy, that you'd like to add?
No, I'm just gonna, Ron, whenever you have time, there's no rush. If you can just send me the list of what's in the carpeting. I just have a environmental health concern about the materials in the carpeting and the VOCs and the off-gassing. I don't care about the design. I'm concerned about using natural fibers if at all possible with no off-gassing. Our little guys and gals with autism, these are the things that really are toxic for them and for adults as well. So I'm just concerned about that. That's all.
Thanks, Christy, for bringing that up, but it scares me because I just put a new carpet at South, and I don't know if that question was asked.
Well,
But
that
that's
new carpet
important.
smell, we don't want that. We do
Yeah.
not want new carpet smell. That is toxic.
Right.
And unless you're going to cook a building and take it offline and cook it and bake the smell out, which is another cost expenditure, it's you just want to avoid it. So
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? Does anybody want to add anything else or?
Do you want
Any
me to add
comments?
to the minutes when the next subcommittee meeting is? Okay. When is it?
Thursday.
Oh, this week, Thursday. Okay. Thursday, January.
7th.
Thank you.
Yep, 6 PM.
Okay,
And it's gonna be a Zoom. I don't know if this makes a difference. It's gonna be a Zoom meeting.
Doug?
Sorry, I didn't know if Mary was doing something.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add the capital campaign. It's just a brief update for the group. I didn't hear all of Andy's update, but the capital campaign, we had a really exciting December, really active. I think we have, I don't know, almost half of our opportunities named. So this is great. And I wanted to extend a thanks to Andy because, you know, a lot of our donors are coming to us with maybe landscaping ideas or projects that are outside the scope of the project and maybe not even considered. And Andy's been great with working with the architect and the landscape architect and coming up with these other ideas so that we can both figure out the costs for these potential projects.
Fun stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. Okay. All right, our next meeting is going to be February 1st, 6 o'clock, Zoom meeting.
I also included in the minutes, I just looked out, March 1st and then April 5th. It's the first Monday. I'm
Mhm.
thinking we might have to probably, based on what Mark said, throw in another meeting here and there, but I at least included those 3, if that's okay with
Perfect.
everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, we can get ready to adjourn.
I make a motion, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to
Okay,
ask
all right.
somebody to make a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:02, please.
John, second.
Okay, by roll call, Beth,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Julie. Julie,
Sorry, I couldn't
Duh.
unmute.
it's okay.
Lucas?
Doug,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mary, I. Awesome. Great job, guys.